Okay, guys, today I'm doing something interesting. I'm going to be reacting to my second TEDx talk, which I did in, well, it says here 6 years ago. I don't actually know when it was, which is crazy to me that I did this 6 years ago. I still remember it. Like, it was in Bradford. I remember rushing there, you know, just rehearsing the lines over and over again. Anyways, I'm going to be reacting to it today and critiquing it like, you know, was anybody else that was doing some public speaking stuff. I mean, I've done a lot since then. I've obviously spoken a whole lot more, spoken in front of thousands, you know, tens of thousands of people, on stages small and big. And so it'll be interesting to see what I think about this guy. I'll be honest, I haven't seen this in years as well, so it'll be quite interesting. All right, let's watch it together.
So I'm Omoniyi, that's my name, Mike Omoniyi, and I'll start with where this idea really started. I think it was 1 a.m., I was asleep and a friend messaged me and he said, Mike, there's an argument going on Instagram and you need to get on there. And at this stage, two angels, because I don't believe in devils, popped up on my shoulder. One said, Mike, you know, you're a grown man, you got to work in the morning, go to bed. Count your losses, go to bed. And when another one popped up and said, no. Spend the next 3 hours on Instagram, searching through all kinds of different profiles, trying to understand what's going on. And as a nosy researcher, I kind of listened to the latter. So at 4 a.m., I was on Instagram, searching up this debate, trying to find out who said what and what's going on. And then I came across this profile, and it was that of a very big social media influencer, you would say. This is a person who has lots of followers online. And I clicked on her story and I read a statement she made, and it really got me thinking. Here's what she said. She's in the middle of this debate, by the way. She said, I don't care what anyone says. I'm not taking it back. I never apologize. Now, instinctively, this kind of struck me as quite endearing. I thought, here's a woman who has been pressed on different sides, and rather than cowering and pandering, she refuses to apologize. She digs her heels deeper into her trench, and she says, I'm not going to say sorry. And I thought, this is really good.
Okay, you know what? This is actually a good start. I'll be honest, this is a good start. I'm interested. There's enough going on. Storytelling, good start. I would slow down a bit. There's a Nigerian thing or a Yoruba thing, which is we speak extremely fast. So part of me is like, slow down there, buddy. Like, you're going very, very fast. But so far, I would say, you know, it's in the first minute and 27 seconds, you've piqued my interest, but you could be a bit slower.
What an independent, strong woman. I thought that's really cool. And then I started thinking about this a bit deeper. What was she actually saying? And this is when I realized that this statement actually has deep ramifications, which we're gonna talk about later. But for now, I want us to park this little story into our pocket, just tuck it away. We're gonna visit it later on.
Gosh, I've been using that analogy for so long. I'm just now realizing this whole put in your pocket, we're gonna come back to it. I say it all the time. Even now, I'll say something and be like, put in your pocket. It's interesting, like the kind of, we have like audio tells, like, or like just like tics, things we say over and over again, but you never realize. But that's one of mine.
I want us to take us somewhere else, and I want to take us to Nigeria quickly. When I was 6 years old, this is when I first discovered that I was tribal. I was playing Ludo, and I got out pretty early, wrongfully, I might add. But then I realized after I got out, even though I had no stakes in the game, I still wanted my friend to win. I didn't really watch the game. In fact, I think I walked out. But deep in me was this desire that my friends should win. And I thought, where does that come from? Now, many years later, I realized now that we are all tribal. I think tribalism is an endemic feature of the human experience. You know, we feel safe in tribes. We get to assert ourselves in tribes. They make us feel good, right? And you know, I think buried deep in our psyche is this nested need for, or proclivity rather, for finding people who look like us, who speak like us, who talk like us. It makes us feel a collective sense of identity. And for the most part, it's a good thing. In fact, I think I can divide this room into tribes right now. Should we try it? Okay, hands up if you like Marmite. There we go. Hands up if you hate Marmite. Yeah. Two groups. And there's always a weird third group, which are people who've never tasted Marmite, but will try and force themselves into one camp. Like, oh, I would hate it if I tasted it, and I would love. And you think, well, why? You've never tasted it, but there you go. Let's try something else. This flag is one that gets people's heart beating fast. Some people go, I love this country. They might want to break out in song randomly. No? Okay, that's good. But to others, actually, this is a very problematic flag. It's emblematic of the empire, an unwelcome and uninvited pillaging of resources and artifacts still unaccounted for. Now, I know we've gotten a bit political. People are thinking, this is not what I paid for. I wanted something a bit lighter. So let's try something that's going to unite us, something a bit more jovial. This guy.
Okay, this is good. This is good. It feels odd me saying it's good because it's me, but I actually think it's good. I actually think it's pretty good. I still think I'm speaking fast. I also struggle with mics. I've never liked mics. I just find them really awkward because one hand, I talk with my hands a lot. So I kind of, the mic isn't close enough to my mouth. The main issues I would have with this so far, if there's any, is just that it's quite fast and I'm struggling to really hear this guy, myself speak. So I think move the mic closer. But in terms of the actual content and the rhythm and the pacing, like more generally, I think it's okay. I think it's getting people interested and involved, and yeah, so far it's okay. Like this is annoying. By the way, if you know me, I'm extremely critical. So the fact that I'm saying this isn't because I just thought, let me record a video where I say I'm great. No, this is me actually trying to critique this, and I'm like, you know what? So far, so good.
This is Donald J. Trump. And to some, he is a man who speaks his mind, who tells it like it is, a self-made business mogul who's going to make America great again. And to others, his accusers, they see him as a sexist, racist ideologue who threatens democracy as we know it and the security of America. But other than that, he's a fine lad. Very quickly, you see that we can be very tribal. With little help, we can find what group we like. And for the most part, I think society is full of many ways we get to be tribal without harming anyone. So, for instance, sport. When we play sport, you watch football, you cheer for your team, and that's a healthy way to channel your tribalism, your tribal instincts. Something happens when you take part in the political process, whether you're debating politics over a drink with a friend or you're taking part in voting in the political process. Equally, you get to be tribal and no one gets harmed by it. And perhaps the most visceral expression of tribalism is when we think about nation states. A lot of us are proud to be British or proud to be Scottish or Welsh. We'll see how long that lasts. But ultimately, this is a very safe way of expressing your tribalism without hurting anybody. But you probably saw it coming. Although all these different ways are ways we can express our tribalism without hurting anyone, there's also a very dangerous undertone to tribalism, which is what we at the Common Sense Network try to combat. You see, if we visit the story I told you at the start, and we think about this woman, what she basically was saying, and I did some research, like I said, I was up for 3 hours. I did some research. She was in the wrong. She had made a joke that was, tasteless, so to speak, and people were saying, hey, take the joke down. And she was like, I'm never taking it down. So she was in the wrong. But presented with information, rather than saying, oh, here's a chance for me to learn, she said, no, I'm not gonna cower. I'm not going to admit I was wrong. I'm going to double down on my thoughts. This is very interesting. She said, I don't care what anyone says. I'm not taking it back. I never apologize. Unwilling to yield to reason and logic. Can't be persuaded. Simplify the debate, she did. And she said, this is my stance, and that's it. And therein lies the first problem with tribalism, is that it stops us from using reason and logic when it comes to debates. Case in point, climate change. When you consider climate change and the debate between the Republicans and the Democrats, it's a real mess. Because what climate change is a political football. When really, we should be listening to the logic and research of scientists. I mean, 97% of them agree, and they never agree on anything. That ought to make you think, what's going on here? But when you subject climate change, something that we should be looking at through reason and logic, to politics, and it becomes something the left loves and the right hate, it becomes a political football. And it moves between houses. And whilst that's happening, no less, forest fires are increasing in intensity and frequency. And we can see the causes of man-made climate change all over the world. Whilst this is happening, we have a leader of the free world who doesn't believe it's real. Says it's an invention by the Chinese. The second issue with tribalism is it kind of reduces the point of this word, persuasion. You see, one of the best things about life is that you can be persuaded. The time you don't know something and then you know it, it's a great kind of feeling of learning something new. But we now live in a world where people don't want to be persuaded, can't be persuaded. In fact, we laud and we celebrate those who don't change their mind. We go, that's a strong, decisive man, or that's a really strong-headed woman because they don't change their mind. That's really odd. Because you see, holding on strongly to a wrong idea isn't strength at all. It's actually weakness. So when we meet someone who says, oh, I've been a Tory voter all my life, we kind of go, oh, this is a really, really strong-willed, powerful. Well, no, she isn't. If she's been presented with information for 50 years and she's never changed her mind, kudos. But I suspect that's not the case. I suspect she's put on her ideological glasses and will not move because everyone in the family celebrates her for being the woman who doesn't change her mind.
I'm going to put the link to the rest of the video because I'm actually getting into the video now, and I'm going to put the link somewhere else. But if I did have to critique this, it would actually be for me, in terms of sort of style, might be a thing. Now, the truth about public speaking is a lot of style is kind of unique to us. It's like it's our idiosyncrasies, which we can't really change. So I have a habit of sort of speaking fast and stopping, then speaking fast and stopping, and that's a speech pattern that I think is still with me till today, if I'm honest with you. That's just the way I communicate, right? So, rather than spending the next 10 minutes going through the rest of this, I think what's so interesting to me about this is how so much of this is still the same. Like, it's still the same way. I still speak the same way when I'm speaking publicly. It's the same. I'm much slower these days because I'm talking to older people, and I've had lots of feedback like, you're going way too fast, buddy. And I'm like, okay, I'll slow it down. But I think general things to take away from this, from where I'm sitting down, is one, there's a key part of us that can't be changed, and what feedback should do is help us maybe like temper and react and like kind of sort of fine tune things. But in reality, we are who we are. That's just the truth. If I was to critique this guy, it would be, yes, slow down a tiny bit, hold the mic closer so we can hear you, maybe move around a tiny bit more. I actually have this kind of anxious pacing thing I do where I'm sort of going back and forth a bit. And what you want to do when you're moving is be very intentional with your movement. You want your movement to sort of corroborate the point you're making. You want to accentuate your point with your movement. So if you're getting intense, you can move forward. If you're pulling back, you pull back. But kind of going back and forth can be a self-soothing thing, which is good for you, but it actually makes the people watching you quite dizzy. So that's one sort of feedback I would give this guy. But generally speaking, I'm actually looking back at this and it's aged well. Like, a lot of the points I'm making are true. Like, there are problems today. Donald Trump is still a problem. And I still very much believe in this idea of like rejecting extremes and trying to find common sense. It's kind of interesting to me that I've spent literally the best part of the last 9 years on this crusade, and it hasn't changed. Like, a lot of the stuff this guy's saying, I'm trying not to be annoying by nodding furiously at myself speaking, which would be very odd, but I believe every single word. I still believe that we've lost the art of persuasion, of actually going, you know what, you have a point there, because people are so entrenched in non-interacting bubbles that for them, they see it as a loss and that they've been captured because they've got friends that are also intolerant if they move to the other side. So like, case in point, think the immigration debate. If you're on the left, you should say, actually, I think we need to manage the numbers better. There are some on the left who'd say, oh my gosh, you've been captured, you're a sellout. Whereas if you're on the right and you say equally, you know what, I think we're a bit too draconian with the language we use about immigrants. It's not creating unhealthy. Some people would go, oh my gosh, he's a loony lefty. And it's like, no. We can, one, find moderation, but then two, we can actually like be persuaded. When new information presents itself, we shouldn't be so wedded to one side that we can only see things through the lens of that side. Consider that you might be wrong, and that's okay. And so the content of this, I am absolutely still in love with. I love public speaking, man. It's just, it's something I actually miss doing. I stopped doing it for a year, so I think I need to get back into it. But anyways, you can watch the rest of the video in the comments section or in the description, whatever. I'll link the video. But it's just so interesting to see young Mike, man, just running around, energetic, speaking extremely fast. I still speak fast, but not as fast as this. And let me know what you think. If you get a chance to watch the full thing, it's 16 minutes, quite long. Let me know what you think. But looking forward to seeing what happens. See you in the next one.